Tony Stark was born beneath the hum of machines. From the moment he could walk, he wandered the vast halls of Stark Industries, a kingdom of steel and circuitry built by his father, Howard Stark, a visionary who believed the future could be engineered. Tony was brilliant beyond measure, solving equations before most children learned to read. But brilliance came at a cost. His parents were distant, often absent, and affection was replaced by expectation. When Tony was only 21, tragedy struck. Howard and Maria Stark died in a sudden car accident, and the empire of Stark Industries fell into Tony's hands overnight. The world saw a young billionaire genius playboy. Tony saw a hollow throne. He buried himself in work designing advanced weapons, smarter missiles, faster drones. Stark Industries became the world's largest weapons supplier. Wars were fought with Stark Tech, and Tony celebrated success with laughter, luxury, and indifference. After all, if the world was broken, why should he feel responsible? Chapter 2. Fire in the Desert. Everything changed in a desert far from home. While demonstrating a new missile system overseas, Tony's convoy was ambushed. Explosions tore through the sand. Shrapnel pierced his chest, embedding itself dangerously close to his heart. As darkness closed in, Tony Stark, who had always believed himself untouchable, felt fear for the first time. He awoke in a cave. Car battery powered a crude electromagnet strapped to his chest, keeping metal shards from killing him. Standing over him was Yinzhen, a fellow prisoner, an engineer forced to serve the same captors. "They want you to build a weapon," Yinzhen said quietly. Tony laughed weakly. "Then I'll build something better." What Tony built instead was hope. Using scraps, wires, and sheer willpower, Tony and Yinzhen secretly created something else, a suit of armor. Heavy, imperfect, barely alive, but powerful. When the moment came, Tony escaped in a storm of fire and steel. Yinzhen did not survive. As Tony flew out of the cave, explosions lighting the night sky, he realized something terrifying and transformative. His weapons had fallen into the wrong hands, and he was responsible. Chapter 3. A new mission back home. Tony was a changed man. He shut down Stark Industries' weapons division overnight, shocking investors, politicians, and his closest ally, Obadiah Stane. The world protested. Profits plummeted. But Tony no longer cared. In secret, he worked in his workshop beneath his mansion. Tony refined the armor. Sleeker, faster, smarter. He built a new power source, the arc reactor, not just to power the suit, but to keep his own heart beating. Piece by piece, Iron Man was born. At first, Tony flew for himself, testing limits, pushing altitude, chasing the thrill of survival. Then he saw the news. Villages destroyed by weapons with his name on them. So he acted. He destroyed weapon stockpiles. He saved civilians. He became a rumor, then a symbol. Governments demanded answers. Tony smiled and deflected. But power always draws shadows. Chapter 4. The enemy within. Obadiah Stane had watched Tony all his life. He had helped build Stark Industries. He believed the company belonged to him just as much as it did to the Stark family. When Tony shut down weapons production, Obadiah saw betrayal. Secretly, he recreated Tony's technology. Using stolen designs and brutal methods, Obadiah built his own suit, larger, stronger, colder. Where Tony's armor protected life, Obadiah's existed only to dominate. Their battle tore through the city in a clash of metal and fury. Tony fought not just for survival, but for redemption. In the end, Obadiah fell consumed by the very power he sought to control. Iron Man stood alone in the wreckage. A hero had been forged, not by genius, but by guilt and responsibility. Chapter 5. A man without armor fame returned different this time. Tony became a public hero, though he pretended otherwise. Inside, the arc reactor poisoned him slowly. His greatest invention was killing him. Desperate, haunted by nightmares of invasion and failure, Tony worked obsessively. He built suits for every situation: space, combat, rescue. Armor became his coping mechanism, but no suit could protect him from fear. When a new threat emerged, one that sought to wipe out humanity, Tony faced the truth. He could not save the world alone. For the first time, he trusted others. Chapter 6. The Avengers gods, soldiers, spies, monsters. Together, they became the Avengers. Tony clashed with leaders, questioned authority, and doubted himself constantly. But when the world stood on the brink of annihilation, Iron Man flew into the sky carrying a weapon meant to end everything. He did not know if he would survive. As he fell back to Earth. Unconscious, he realized something new. He wasn't fighting to prove he was a hero. He was fighting because the world mattered. Chapter 7. The price of peace. Victory did not bring rest. Tony's fear grew. He built defenses, then armies of machines. He believed protection required control. Others disagreed. Friends became enemies. The Avengers shattered. Tony stood on one side of a broken ideal, convinced that order was the only way to prevent disaster. But every choice cost him relationships, trust, and sleep. Still, he kept building. Because if he stopped, the fear would win. Chapter 8. The final war, when the greatest threat the universe had ever known arrived. Tony knew the truth. He had been running from his entire life. There would always be something stronger. There would always be another war. The only thing that mattered was what you chose to protect. Side by side with all eyes, old and new. Tony fought through fire, loss, and despair. One final chance remained, a choice only he could make. He looked at the armor. He looked at the world. And for the first time, Tony Stark did not hesitate. Chapter 9. I am Iron Man. Power surged through him. It burned. It tore. It ended everything. In that moment, Tony Stark, the man who once built weapons for profit, gave his life to save all others, not as a billionaire, not as a genius, but as a hero. I am Iron Man. The universe fell silent. Epilogue. The man. Behind the mask, Tony Stark left behind more than machines. He left a lesson. That intelligence without empathy is dangerous. That power demands responsibility. That even a broken man can build something beautiful. Iron Man was never the suit. Iron Man was the choice to stand up, again and again, and use a heart of steel to protect a fragile world.